Soprano, Igugu, Pomodoro, Heavy Metal. But who will win this year? 16 of the best, they the chosen ones, all will fight, but who will win? With R3.5 million at stake and a place in history, it's superstar horse racing and the world will take notice. The most adrenaline-soaked 2 minutes in South African sport. Who will it be in 2014? The Vodacom Durban July. Saturday, 5 July at Gravel Racecourse, the Theatre of Champions. Africa's greatest horse racing event.
Good morning, everyone. We have the Sangoma. He's going to pen the incense, and then he's going to give us the first 3 winners of the Vodacom Durban July. Thank you. He is busy talking to the elders as they are going to give him the first 3 winners of the main race of the Vodacom Durban July. Okay, we have the 3rd number. He's still confirming with the elders. The number 3 is number 16, Futura. So the 3rd winner is number 16, Futura. The 2nd winner will be number 4, White Line Fever. And the winner will be number 14, Captain America. Those will be the first 3 winners. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very, very much to Chuck and Bonesy, who's going to try and break his record of never having got it right. And it looks like he's keeping that record intact. Thank you very much, Chuck and Bonesy. And he started off by talking to our elders, so I should talk to Garth Puller first. But we're going to run through the gallops today, and all 3 of these are ex-jockeys, but Kevin still rides. And we're going to get their opinions to find out if what they thought of the gallops, which is very interesting at this stage. Thanks very much. Chuck's just about to leave. And we're going to start off, Mace. I'm going to start with you if you grab your mic. The first gallop we saw was King of Pain, who looked really well.
Yes, Paul, I agree with you. This horse, I thought, for a grey, he looked outstanding. He came back. I saw him coming back to the paddock, and he looked like he really enjoyed himself this morning. Top weight, good pilot, and I think it's got a fair draw. And it's a horse that comes from behind, and his win at Clearwood was full of merit. And he's the best horse on the race on rating. So I think I'll give him an outside chance.
Excellent. Garth, how do you see it?
Paul, I think the ride at Clearwood was one of the rides of the season. Very hard to come back and have another great ride like that. I mean, I really thought that was a top ride from Bernard. Horse looked very well. The gallop was impressive. Distance and weight, I think, might just be too much. He's been held by the other horses before, and I think his cherry was at Clearwood.
Yeah, Lef, I personally think myself that this horse is a top horse, and it just took a little bit of time for them to geld him, and it was his first time that you saw last time, listening under a great ride from Bernard, that he just showed his ability and he came to the party. I personally think that the weight might catch him out, but with no pace in the race, I think he's going to try and do the same as he done at Clearwood. So with Bernard on, I'll give him an outside chance, but it's not easy with 60 kilos on your back.
Yeah, what Kevin was referring to, it wasn't a long procedure, the gelding. It just took a long time to decide to do it. But King of Pain is a very, very good horse, and I was very pleased with what I saw today. But let's move on to second gallop. And Kev, you can start this one. Cape Town Noir, a very good horse.
Champion horse, the best miler in the country by far. Quite interesting how Dean's going to throw a set of blinkers on him, half cups for this race. But he was going to go overseas and campaign overseas, and they decided to keep him here off a slow pace. He's a genuine horse. Carl Nieses has been around the corner a couple of times here, so I wouldn't leave this horse out. I think he's a big runner.
Paul, I thought, I was against this horse earlier on, but I must say, I agree with Dean. He's a year older. Stamina kicks in a bit better. They pulled the same move with Pardequois as a 7-year-old. They put the blinkers on before the met, and he won. The horse seemed to enjoy his gallop. He's obviously got a lot of class. And all of a sudden, for me, he's come into my reckoning. I think this is a runner.
Michael?
I thought this horse moved very well this morning. I haven't seen him move like this for a long time. He looked like he's enjoying himself. I'm worried about the trip. They've tried this horse, and he's a fantastic miler. But the 2-2, and unless it's a crawl, I think he's going to battle.
There we go. Conflicting opinions on what is really a top horse. The next gallop we had was White Line Fever, who lines up to have another crack at this race. And Michael, I'll start with you again. We're going to alternate. Can he win this race?
I liked him last year. I thought he had a chance, but I don't quite think this horse stays. They've ridden him with a lot of patience. They had good waiting jockeys riding this horse. I doubt it, to be honest with you.
My worry is Sean Terry said his first choice was left out, that being Pomodoro. So obviously, I think if this horse will find it hard. He's been campaigning over a mile in the sprint races. It's not going to be easy for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the trip's a problem, but as an individual, as you look at him, he's just a magnificent specimen. But I think the trip's going to be the problem.
Yeah, there we go. White Line Fever, incidentally, Sean Terry and Chris Van Niekerk in particular are looking for their third Vodacom July winner in a row. With an outstanding feat and one that's very difficult to emulate. But let's go on to Punta Arenas, Stan Ellie's horse. And Kevin ran third in the Met. This horse ran well in the 1900 the other day. He looked very good today.
Yeah, Leffy, I must be honest, he's just behind them every time he runs. And today is the first time I actually saw that horse. He looks super fit, and I think his preparation's gone right. So if he's got a chance of winning a big one, I think this is his chance now. Mr. Ellie's been around. He knows how to train, get these big ones right. But I think this is his last throw of the dice. He's run behind the best. And if he puts his best foot forward, he'll have a chance.
Yeah, Stan, he's in my yard, so I've watched him progress, and he's really come on well. He looks very good. I think his prep's gone well. I think he's a 4-year. He's an older horse that's close to the 3-year-olds in the weights, which brings him into it. And these 3-year-olds haven't been tested against the older horses, so this will be a test for them, because I really think this is a big runner.
For me, I think he's a well-handicapped horse, and with the older horses, I think he could be the best. And like Garth is saying, you know, to test him against the younger generation, I think this is a runner. I like this horse, and you know, he's had a couple of nice runs, and the triple suit, unfortunately not well drawn, but he drops out, and I think he got a right pilot on him for that as well. So I'll make him a runner.
All right, there we go. So a lot of ticks in the right boxes for Punta Arenas. But let's go on to possibly the best bred horse in the field, Wiley Hall, the Australian horse by reduced choice for Michael Leaf and Waham Mowing. And he galloped today. Michael, some people weren't that mad about his gallop and said he was a little Keenan behind them. How did you see it?
I must be honest with you, I didn't like him. I'm going to pass him over.
Yeah, Paul, I thought he'd need a galloping track. I mean, I don't really know if Gravel's going to suit him. I thought his work wasn't bad at all, but I think he might be found a bit flat-footed.
Yeah, he's a strange horse. I mean, he got beat short-head last year in the Daily News 2000 behind two very good horses. The galloping track, you don't know about this horse. He actually could be a horse that might be in the first 2 or 3, and he'll stay on. You know, with Wayo, they're very fit. And MJ Balefeld too doesn't wait for anybody, so I think he's a kind of horse, if he's ridden properly, he might have a chance.
All right, that's Wiley Hall. Now let's move on to Espumanti, the only runner from the powerful Michael de Kock stable. And Espumanti has proved that she's on song with her win the other day. She now gets draw 2, which could end up being draw 1 if the 4th reserve does not get in. And Kevin, you know the stable well over the years. Anthony Delpeche has won this race 4 times. If it comes out of trap 1, does he have to go at the front?
I don't think she will lead, but I mean, I know Mark's record just in racing in general with Anthony on. You've got to give her a chance. You just can't leave her out. But I just feel that her win at Gravel the other day to get her into the race maybe wasn't good enough. I don't want to knock her, but for me, I think with her weight, I think there's a couple other horses that got her held.
Yeah, I think there's 2 big pluses. Obviously the stable, and then again the draw. I don't think the draw will play against her. She's waited to be up there. She's running over the distance for the first time. I think, we don't want to give them all chances, but I think this is definitely, she's going to come in fit, and she's definitely going to be a runner, and I like the way she went today.
Definitely a runner. I mean, you got to respect Mark de Kock, Anthony Delpeche. She got a draw. You know, she got everything in her favour. Is she good enough? We'll have to wait.
All right, sit on the fence, Roberts. Right, let's move on to the favourite here, Legislate, of the 3-year-olds. And most people you talk to say the 3-year-olds hold the key again. This horse has got a flawless record, but has drawn deepest of all the 3-year-olds. People are working out the race sale, coming to draw 12. Has Richard Furey and Justin Snaith, and Justin looks to be the champion-elect as a trainer, and Richard's come back from their fall. He's been riding with great confidence before the fall, and it's a very, very good horse, Michael. Can you see Legislate going on? His favourite, I think he's good enough to win.
Most definitely. I mean, he's done nothing wrong. You can't point fingers at him. The only negative is probably the draw, but I didn't see the Daily News. I was in Investec Derby at the time, but I believe the speed of his show was incredible, and I think that's what you need for the Julian, especially at Gravel here. So, he's a worthy favourite, and just watching him today, he looks so relaxed and enjoying himself, and he looks fit and ready. So I think what beats him will win the race.
Yeah, I think, I must say this has been my choice all along. I wasn't disappointed. Put up a very good gallop, big, strong horse, enjoyed himself out there. You can't knock a horse like this. He won the Derby, the Daily News, the Guineas. It takes a good horse to win it. If the 3-year-olds are good enough on the year and they contest this race, he's drawn no worse than he was in the Daily News. He did it the hard way in the Daily News. He came around, he sat at the back, he got shifted out a little bit. He had no cover early on. He looped the field. He raced across to cover the middle horses and just about put his hands down a bit too soon to allow Rex Chestnut to finish. Very big runner. He's got the acceleration. He looks well. And he's going to be in the first 3.
Absolutely. He's a worthy favourite. He's a top horse. He's got a turn of foot like you can't believe. I'm not worried about his draw because he likes to come from a little bit off the pace. But from his Daily News run, from that draw, I think he's actually better off this time. So he's a big runner. He's a worthy favourite. And I think we're all going to have to chase him home. But I think the guys are lining up and prepared to take him on. So we're ready for him.
Well, that's good to hear that they're getting ready to take on the favourite, and I think 7-2, 4-1 available about this horse who's looking for his 4th win in a row. He's a fabulous specimen. But let's talk about Louis the King, who is the next to gallop today. Did gallop with Rake's Chestnut, but we'll talk about them separately, starting off with Louis the King. And Kevin Shea is going to be first to talk because he rides the horse. He rode the gallop this morning, and this is a superb racehorse.
Yeah, what can I say? What you see is what you get with this horse. He's just an absolute gentleman. He loves his work. He does everything in stride. He's a sound horse. I mean, any horse to win the Triple Crown is at a very hard campaign. I think Jeff just took his foot off the accelerator just before the Daily News. He got beat 1.3 lengths by Legislate. Also came from the back of the field. He's definitely turned the corner. His coats come right. His work was very good again, as he is, and he's a genuine horse. I really think this horse will be in the shake-up. In the Daily News, halfway down the straight, he was completely lost. He didn't know where he was going, and in a matter of a couple of strides, at one stage, he looked like he was just about going to go through to win it. So I'm very happy with this ride. He's doing well. He's got a nice draw. He'll come into 8, which is halfway, and if he's sitting halfway back down the field, around the turn, I'm sure he'll pick it up. So, yeah, I think he's a big runner.
Kev, is that where you're ideally looking to be, halfway back?
This horse is normally always a little bit sluggish out the gates, but I'm not going to chase him up. But if he's halfway back, 4 or 5 lengths off them, I'll be very happy.
Goth?
Yeah, I think a very big runner. He would have come on from the Daily News. He just arrived and he had a hard campaign, like Kevin said, and I think he was running on. He's distance suited, good draw, top pilot. Yeah, he'll be there.
Most definitely, you've got to respect this horse. What I've heard, what happened to him in the Daily News, and that, and only get beat by 1.3 by Legislate, you've got to respect him. I just don't know if the straight is long enough for him, because with a horse like Legislate that can turn it on so quickly. But I mean, like Kevin has said, I mean, you know, he's a pilot. He rode him this morning. He looked very good in his gallop and that. He must be right there. I mean, one of the leading lights in the race.
Absolutely. He's a horse who can run in any conditions, soft, hard, firm. Very good horse, big runner, Louis the King. But let's move on to Rake's Chestnut, who the detractors will say is only a one-time winner, but that was blown away with his run in the Daily News. This is a top horse as well, and wonderful to see the son of Horse Chestnut coming and doing so well, Mace.
Yes, very very good. But I mean, it's, you know, it's a difficult horse for me to assess, because all of a sudden out the blue, you get beat 0.05 in the Daily News. Jeff got Louis the King as well. So, it's I don't know how to weigh this horse up. Obviously, a brilliant run. If the race was run to the crawl, and I believe he was handy, you can explain the run. But I mean, it's very difficult for me to judge this horse. But on that form, you must give him a run as well, a chance as well.
Rake's Chestnut and Louis the King started their career on the same day, over the same distance, one race apart, and Rake's Chestnut's time was over a second faster than Louis the King on the same day. He then obviously had setbacks. He came back. He's run in the Daily News, brilliant. He's a lightly raced horse. He's going to make the most improvement. Really, I think this is the one to watch out for. This is the danger horse in the race. He will improve. They tried him from the front now in the gallop. They know he's better from behind. The way he quickened up in the Daily News was great, and I think he can only have come on. These 3-year-olds are tough.
Yeah, Garth's 100% right. When they ran first time out, Robbie rode them both, and he got off this horse, and he said he thinks this horse is better than Louis the King. Anyway, like you guys say, he's a one-time winner, but I think he was very unlucky in the Daily News. I think it's the interference that cost him the race. So on his Daily News run, you've got to give him a chance. For a one-time winner with level weights, with a horse that's won the Triple Crown, it's just hard to imagine. But pilot like Anton Marcos on is a big plus, and I'm sure this horse will give the best. So I do give him a chance.
Absolutely. There we are, talking about the young horses. But let's stick with Captain America, who is next to Gallop. And bear in mind, this horse was only beaten 1.4 in the same race that these guys have lauded so much praise on the horses who beat him. He's a big horse, and stable jockeys elected to ride Futura ahead of this horse. Is it the right call, Kevin?
Left, it's difficult to be a jock and have to choose from these two horses. Personally, myself, I know he only got beat 1.4 lengths, Captain. He's a very nice horse. I'd like to see this horse if he was a gelding. I think he's aggressive horse. He's a different horse. I can't pinpoint how good he is, and I think he is a good horse. But at this present time in his career, I like to pass him by.
Impressive Gallop. I think he's got a very good pilot on top that'll settle him. I think he's been aggressive in his races, but I think that Sean will settle him. I was really impressed with the Gallop. He dethroned Red Ray early on in his career, and he was touted as being one of the best 3-year-olds around. He's never really fluffed his lines. He's never been far behind them. I think he's just behind Legislate and all the big ones. And I think he can make that improvement. He's another 3-year-old that really, really will run well.
Yes, same here. I believe this horse must have a chance, especially receiving 2 kgs now from Legislate and from Louis the King, 1.5. But his problem is that he doesn't settle, and he seems a very strong horse. And in his favour, I must say, it's been drawn a bit wide, which will give Sean a couple of options. But if the pace is on and this horse settle, I can see this horse come through, because he's never been more than 1.5 lengths behind Legislate. And with the 2 kg pulls, that could bring them together. But it's not going to be an easy ride, for Sean to settle a horse, because I can't see much space in the race, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Interesting that Kevin Shea wanted to see this horse gelded. Imagine how wealthy Kevin would be if he was gelded years ago. But Captain America is by Captain L, prolific champion stallion, and doing great. But let's move on to filly. In the fast lane, Michael, done anything right? Big girl?
Yes, I mean, she won well last time, but I don't think she's as good as the Colts, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, top filly. I mean, second to Beach Beauty. She won a nice race last time out. I think she'll get the trip. But I do think the stable companion Legislate is a bit stronger than her. But you never know in these races.
Yeah, I think she's a champion, Lef. I like this filly when she got a run. I said, I think she's got a big chance. If she's as good as the Colts, that's the big question. But I think this filly's got a big chance. I mean, when she turned it on in the Fillies Guineas, she really, I mean, she beat myself on Athena, and she's no slouch. So I could just see the turn of foot she's got, and she'll enjoy the track, and I'll definitely give her a chance.
Okay, let's move on to Jet Bell, a very good filly in her own right. Kevin, today's Gallop, and what did you think, and what do you think of her chances?
I think she looked very well today, Lef. I think she's been prepped quite well for this race. She's a lovely filly. She looked a little bit maybe jumpy around today on the parade ring and that, but she looked like she worked well, and you never know. I mean, if they come to the party, she's got a nice turn of foot. You can't disregard a horse like this.
For me, I didn't like the way she carried her tail. She looked a little bit uncomfortable. I wasn't impressed with the Gallop, and for me, there's a question mark on the distance.
I agree with Garth. I would pass her over. I think the trip, and no, sorry, I prefer others.
Okie dokie. Well, they have got a critical side, some of these guys. Well, let's move on and talk about Futura. Now, Futura, for me, Mace, comes into the race, has been a big talking horse. Brett's had a campaign that he had to look forward to get it into this race. It's got into the race, and it gets just those few kilograms pull. Is it a big swing?
Yes, must be. I mean, the interesting part here is Glenn had the stable jock. I mean, he selected the rider's horse. I thought Captain America got a big chance in the race, but he selected this horse. This horse has done nothing wrong. His last run, I can't work the run out. I thought that he should win that race quite easily, and he got beat by one cool dude. I was a little bit disappointed with that run, but obviously the pace couldn't have suited the horse in the race, and the race didn't work out for Glenn. He's staying with the horse. I mean, he's got a nice handy weight. He probably can be handy with him. And the only concern today, I thought he was changing his legs on the top of the straight a couple of times. But, he must have the chance because Glenn Hatt is riding it.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought this is a top horse. I've followed him through. I was very impressed with his win at Gravel. I must say, he fluffed his lines at Clearwood. Everyone says if he had another 50 meters, there's never another 50 meters. The winning post has never moved in 40 years. And And he's got a top jockey on that knows where the winning post is. So he definitely fluffed his lines there. The advantages he's got is that he didn't get the penalty. He didn't get the 2 kilograms that the other 3-year-olds got. And he's obviously a very talented horse. I know the distance will suit him better. I know he quickened up very well when I thought he wouldn't at the night meeting here. So he's got to come into the race. But I would have really liked to have seen him win the Cup Trial and win it well.
Yeah, I disagree with the guys about the pace in the Cup Trial, because I mean I actually won the race, but they didn't go that slow, and I thought he had every chance, and he did fluff his lines. But other than that, he's done nothing wrong. This horse, his turn of foot that night when he won here was amazing. But if you look at the horses behind him, none of them are in the race. So I thought he had quite an easy path to win that race, and then when he took on some horses at Clearwood, he couldn't produce the goods. I'm not saying he's not a good horse. I just feel myself, I think this might be just a little bit out of his depth. So, but this horse next year, I think it will be a proper horse to follow.
Kev, just while we're still talking about him, a great draw for Glenat, draw 3.
Yeah, listen, that's a big plus, and it doesn't look like he's a difficult horse to ride left. They can place him wherever they want, and I'm sure he won't be too far back. He has definitely got the weight in his favour. That is a big plus, and we got to all give him 2.5 kilos, which is it's a lot of weight in a July. Every pound counts. So let's wait and see. He's going to have it quite easy in the race. If he's good enough, let's wait and see.
Thanks, Kev. And let's go on to the last horse that galloped here before we talk about the others. And that's ready to go right now, one of the reserve runners. Nice to see Hassan Adams' colours on the track here as well. A good horse in his own right, Kev, but a lot to do just to get in.
Yeah, Lef, I've looked at the form and that, and I've ridden in a couple of races against it. I think it's a little bit out of, I fancy others.
Yeah, I think ready to go right now. Might as well just start right now. I don't think he's got a chance.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't have him, Paul, even if he gets into the race.
Thank God we haven't got too many more horses to talk about the way these guys are putting out their comments. But those were the horses that galloped today, and very interesting. And we're just going to talk about the others that galloped on the half veld, and then I'm going to ask them for their top 3. But let's talk about Talina. I know the tape jumped a few times, but Kevin, let's start with you again. Decent horse in his day.
Listen, Lef, I think he is a top horse. He's beaten the best, but I personally think that Gravel's got his measure. He's a kind of horse you've got to ride him a little bit cold, and he likes a long straight, and he likes to go between horses and try and get away with it that way. I just think the track's going to be a bit too sharp for him.
Yeah, I don't know much about the horse at all, I must say. The form is good. You've got to respect Jeff. Jeff thinks he's good enough, and obviously stood his ground. Then obviously he's got a chance. This is a very open race.
I agree with Kevin. I think the track won't suit his horse. I've watched him a few times race up at Turfentine, and also been drawn where he is. I think he's going to battle.
Okie dokie. Then we go to Cherry on the top, trained by one of the great trainers of the industry, Orman Ferraris. This is a Triple Crown winner, won the Triple Tiara. She came down last year. They didn't think things were right. They took her back home. And she's come back, and Michael, she looks like she's going about it the right way again.
Yes, Paul, she has, the last couple of runs wasn't too bad. But, I mean, last year I thought it was going to be a year, but, things didn't work out for her. I can't really fancy her, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think she's a very good filly. Obviously, a top trainer. She's going to be very fit. She looked good in her workout. But I must say she's drawn wide. It's going to be hard to do from there.
I agree with you. Mr. Ferraris is the old man of the racing. She'll be fit. She'll be ready. She's got a hard draw to overcome. I personally, no, I don't like her.
All right, the last horse we've got to talk about is Halve the Deficit. And just to reiterate what I said, Chris Van Niekerk and Sean Terry looking for that third Vodacom Durban July winner in a row. And Kev, what do you think? Halve the Deficit?
Well, he got in on his last win. I mean, I think that this race, horses, they deserve to get their place in this race. And I think if Halve the Deficit hadn't have won that race in Joburg, I think he would have been a question mark if he was going to get a run. So if he's good enough, I don't know. But I personally think that there's a lot of others that'll be in front of him.
Yeah, I think you've got to respect. I mean, that's a hell of a combination. Van Niekerk and Terry and Straydom. you got, and he's an older horse. I think he's a horse that could trouble the 3-year-olds.
I agree with Garth. I think you've got to respect this horse. His form isn't bad, and Stradum, you can never leave him out. Great jockey, and he enjoys riding at Gravel, and he'll be there to finish.
So you like him. Just the listening to the panel, it seems to be that they prefer the 3-year-olds to the 4-year-olds, and I think that is shown in the betting of this big race. And before we leave, I'm going to ask you guys to give us your top 4 in order, if you don't mind. I'll start with Kevin. I know it's not an easy task, but the public would like to know what type of idea you've got. Kev, who would be your top 4 in order, please?
Lef, I'm going to give you my top 4, but I'm not going to give them in order because you don't like to put the mockers on anybody. So I'm going to just go in numbers. My top 4 is Cape Town Noir, Louis the King, Rake's Chestnut, and In the Fast Lane.
All right, note no Legislate in Kevin's top 4. Justin says fainted. What about you, Garth?
I'll go. My top 4, not in any order, would be 9, 10,
Give us names, sorry.
7. Oh, you want the names?
Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
Okay. Legislate, Louis the King, Punta Arenas, and Rake's Chestnut.
Michael?
Well, I agree with Garth. I'm going to go Legislate, Louis the King, Punta Arenas, and Captain America.
Well, there we go. As you see, the panel have had a good look, and it looks very interesting. The 3-year-olds seem to be the leading lights, and I'd like to thank all 3 of the panelists for their opinion. And it's only just a week or so, and we'll find out who wins this year's Vodacom Durban July.
Bull Silvano, Igugu, Pomodoro, Heavy Metal. But who will win this year? 16 of the best. They are the chosen ones. All will fight, but who will win? With R3.5 million at stake and a place in history, it's superstar horse racing, and the world will take notice. The most adrenaline-soaked 2 minutes in South African sport. Who will it be in 2014? The Vodacom Durban July. Saturday, 5 July at Gravel Racecourse, the Theatre of Champions. Africa's greatest horse racing event.